Hello, everyone. Welcome to this really special event. Welcome to the Creative Electroacoustic Immersion Program Showcase. I'm so happy to be here today. Welcome to everyone who's tuning in live. It's so good to see you here. Hello. Welcome. How is everyone doing? Patsy, it's great to see you. Derek, welcome. Overlander, George, hello. So good to see so many familiar faces and some new ones as well. So I'm so excited to be live streaming today alongside with some amazing musicians who you are going to get to meet in just a moment. They're currently backstage. Today, what we're going to be doing is sharing a really special celebration and showcase of music that has been created by these people in the spring 2025 cohort of my mentorship program, which is called CEIP. I'm curious from people who are tuning in live, have you been to one of these showcases before? Let me know if you've seen one of these live showcases with me before. So these musicians who you're about to meet are incredible people. They are insanely creative. They are so dedicated. They are so thoughtful, and they are making really beautiful, adventurous music. They've been working with me really closely in my mentorship program for the last 3 months, and I'm really excited to share their work with you. So I'm seeing some people are saying, yes, they've been. There's lots of new folks who haven't been to one of these. Patsy says this is my 3rd or 4th showcase. Okay, amazing. Well, welcome back if you've seen one of these before. And if this is new to you, this is going to be a really fun hang. So today we're going to be hearing and seeing new music and works in progress from Juan Perea, Jess Lamb, Jason Oliveira, Lauren Corba, and Cassandra Meyer. We're also going to not just hear their music, but we're also going to get to talk directly with these musicians, learn a little bit about their creative process, the concepts that are behind their music that fuel their creativity, what inspires them to create in the way that they do, and to get to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and see how they create the music that we're going to hear. So this is a really cool thing. We get to hear their music and also learn about their process. So first of all, welcome again to everyone who's here. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I see someone is here from India. That's amazing. Welcome. Lots of folks from the US. I always love how global of a community this is. Honestly, it's just incredible. Thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who are in the future watching the replay, welcome to you as well. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I want to kind of set some context for this event. Really, this event is intended to be a celebration, okay? The work that I do with these musicians inside of my mentorship program is focused on helping each individual unlock their unique artistic voice, clarify their music making workflow, and their creative process, and ultimately to support them in creating and finishing music that feels like the truest expression of themselves. There's no one specific genre that people are working within. There's no one specific approach that everyone is using or following. And in fact, what makes these showcases so special is the range of musical expression that we get to witness and experience. And again, our ability to kind of hear not only the music, but hear what drives these artists and get a little bit of insight into their creative practice. My other intention for this is for all of you in the audience watching, for those of you who are creative people in any way, musicians, artists, poets, whatever you might be. I hope that this event will inspire you to dig a little bit deeper into your own practice. Maybe ask some different questions, try something a little bit new, whatever it might be. A big motivation behind talking to the artists, hearing about their challenges, hearing about their process is to celebrate their own work, of course, and their accomplishments, but also to hopefully inspire all of you to do your thing in whatever way feels right for you. Okay, does that sound like a good plan? I'm seeing people from England, Raleigh, welcome, Montreal, hello, Sweden, love it, Germany, So good. Vancouver. Awesome. So good to see you all. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump right in. The first piece that we're going to be hearing today is an excerpt from a work titled Bowls, and this is composed by Juan Perea. So the way that this event is going to work, first we're going to listen to the music, and then I'm going to bring Juan up on screen, and we're going to chat a little bit about his process. And if any of you listening have questions along the way for the artists, you're welcome to go ahead and drop them in the chat, and I will relay them over to the artist for you. So without further ado, this is our first piece on the program, Bowls by Juan Perea. So good, so good. Let me bring Juan up here on the screen with me. There you are. Hi, Juan.
Hi, Sarah.
Huge applause. That was so beautiful. I
Thank you.
honestly couldn't imagine a better opener. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So good. There's so much I love about this piece, but in particular, the thing that I want to mention, I'm really struck by the simplicity of it and how powerful it is that you're using this one gesture, right, of striking the metal bowl. And that gesture becomes this like grounding kind of backbone for the whole piece. It's it's just amazing how something so simple can be like such a powerful element. I love it. I want to share a little bit of love here from there's lots of love coming in from people in the chat, which is good to see. Again, folks, this is all about celebrating. So thank you for bringing the celebration energy. Love it. So can you tell us a little bit about this piece and how you made it?
Sure. First, thank you to everybody. I appreciate the nice comments. I've always been interested in the sound of Tibetan prayer bowls because they have a very rich sound full of overtones, and the sound lasts a long time. It has a very long decay, and different pitches come in during the decay, and the complexity of the sound kind of belies the simplicity of how you produce it, right? Just by striking the bowl, it actually produces quite a complex sound. And for me, a very rich sound. So what I wanted to try to do was to match or come as close as I could to matching the sound of the bowl, and then to improvise and see what I came up with, improvising on a keyboard with the sound that seemed close to the sound of the bowl.
You did a very good job of matching it. It was, especially in the few opening gestures, it was almost difficult to tell what was just the natural resonance of the metal bowl and what was, these synthesized tones starting to kind of emerge and almost bloom from the sound. I thought that was very effective.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you. So I'm curious if your process working with this piece, it sounds like it was pretty exploratory and experimental, would you say?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was all an experiment. I was just really curious about, again, exploring the sound of the bowl, but also exploring how it impacted me through the improvisation.
So this is really interesting. It was the sound of the bowl that kind of started the whole idea for the piece, right? And then from there you were like, okay, let me play an experiment. I love that just as a way of, getting going on something. Because I know a lot of people, myself included sometimes, can feel like, oh, we need to have this whole idea, like a big master plan. We need to understand how the piece is going to unfold before we get started. And sometimes all you need is a single little nugget or a single sound that you're like intrigued by, and then play with it a little and massage it and manipulate it and just see where it leads you. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to approach things that way. And I just want to say too that I had wanted to try something like this for a very long time, literally decades, but I didn't actually try it and explore it until very, very recently during our course.
Interesting. So what, can you share more about like what helped you get over what gave you that little oomph to give it a try?
Well, I dedicated myself, during our work together, I dedicated myself to learning how to use synthesizers, how to better use them, and kind of get over some of my blocks about dealing with the technology and the complexity of them. So I was just motivated to try things that had been on my mind before. And so that's what I did.
Yeah, good. I love that because it's just, to me, what it sounds like you're saying is you just basically made a decision to give it a try. Finally, there was no other magical thing that happened. It wasn't like all of a sudden you were, you were now ready, or anything had really changed. Of course, you had support in the program, of course, but it was you just said, no, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to go for it, see what happens. And here you are. That's very encouraging and inspiring, I'm sure, for lots of people. Yeah, people are saying I relate in the chat. Very inspiring. Yeah. Well, okay. Thank you so much, Juan. This was really beautiful. I'm going to bring you back in a few minutes with the whole group, but for now, we're going to move forward and listen to the second piece. Is there anything else you want to say, though, before you go backstage?
No, just that I hope everybody enjoys the process and the sounds of making music.
Yeah.
It seems to me that's the best we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Be curious, try something, experiment with something. I love that. Enjoy the process. I think if that's what we're doing, it's always going to lead us in a good direction. Beautiful advice. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you.
All right. I'm going to put you backstage again. You'll come back on in a few minutes. So
Great.
Thank you once again, Juan. Congratulations.
I'll see you in. Thanks.
Okay. See you soon. All right. We're going to move on to the second piece on our program. All right. So the next person we're going to be hearing from, let me just see here if I've got my order correct. Here we go. The next person is Jess Lamb, and we're going to be hearing their piece titled First Time Again. And I just want to remind you how we're going to do this. I'm going to play the piece first, then I'll bring Jess on the screen and we'll hear a little bit about their process. And if you all in the audience have any questions that you'd like me to relay over to the artist, you can drop those in the chat and I will do my best to get to them. Okay, so without further ado, this is First Time Again.
I hear the drops before the hollow, still quiet, an 11 mountain, hidden as a nest does late spring. Loudest whisper, tiny levels flicker off of the keys to a shared stage. Bundle silence, finish line praise. Stay as you were, their eyes have enough change. Accepting a fractured location, rooted in a newfound rehabilitation. Hands cupped, voice washes the sensation. Overthinking, flip channels, finding remote. Family season grows the meadows pleasing. Spectrum's thesaurus, lonely as alone. no less than 3, raising woods to a home, build altars of blood and drums, translating pitch through thumb. One step clock's duration, unexpected. Fall on o'er his shoulders for the first time again. Whole self kisses life together, living. Fall on for his shoulders for the first time again. Whole self kisses life together, living.
Let me get Jess up here. There you are. Hello. Hi. I just want thunderous applause, and it's so funny when you're, on a live stream. The intention is there. Oh, so beautiful. I love this so much. The spaciousness in your music is breathtaking. It's so patient, and it just feels like an invitation to come into your world. It's just beautiful. So thank you for that. I love it. I also have to share because the chat is just flying by. Let me pull up some applause. Thank you all. Yes, yes, yes. So Jess, can you share a little bit about this piece maybe and how it came together?
Yeah. So my goals kind of kept evolving in the program, and I tried to pick one that scared me, which was performing live, at least in front of some friends. And so I practiced, my practice in the way that I practiced, just writing the song and then playing it. So a couple weeks ago, that's what I did. And I was fully prepared. I kind of worked out some kinks, and I forgot to hit record.
Been there. I've been there.
Yeah. So the video I was going to show today doesn't exist. But one of the things that I had my friends do while they were here was kind of translate what I was singing, the sounds I was making, into sketches or imagery. And so the next day, I wrote a song and kind of looked over the sketches and then recorded this one. And so it's kind of this like happy accident of translating my words into sketches through my friends, then translating it back into a song.
That's such a great idea. I love that. So your audience, the people in your audience were reacting to your music and sketching and drawing and writing, and then you took their reactions and then you reacted to that and made this performance.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that so much. I also want to say huge congratulations for doing this. I mean, you said your goal was to do, I want to highlight a bunch of things actually. Sorry, I'm getting a little too excited. I have to calm down. You said, I had a goal. I had a bunch of goals. I chose the one that scared me. First of all, that's awesome. And the more that we do that, like life is a better place, because the goals that scare you are the ones that are like moving you and calling you, right? So I think that's just so courageous that you did that. And that goal that was scaring you was to perform live. And you just did it 2 weeks ago. And then again, and that's so cool. So yeah, please join me everyone in congratulations, in congratulating. Yeah, that's the word, Jess. So good. So do you mind sharing a little bit about how you, like your typical music making process? Because I know that you have a really interesting, kind of pretty dialed in way that you approach going from nothing to having a song that you've written.
Yeah, at the beginning of the program, I was trying different things to try to find a workflow that worked for me. And so I'd like make a loop in the morning with like a synth or something droning, and then build onto it throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wanting to include more of my voice, so I started kind of inspired by some of the exercises in the program, meditating in the morning and journaling right after. And I just started singing the journal, which was very literally a journal in the beginning. And then it started to become a little more flowy and more like a poem. And I had more fun playing around with that. And so, yeah, I would just meditate, write the song, and then record it right after. For some days, I would like add other found sounds, like the very slight sound in the background of that song that you just heard, clothespins.
That was such a good sound. I loved that crackling element. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, it's just it's kind of a nice container or canvas to have like this process every day that I can then play around inside of it, like layering in, background vocals or other instruments or found sounds like the clothespins.
Yeah.
It's been really nice.
And something else that you do, if I'm not mistaken, that I think is really lovely is you'll do things in stages throughout the day, right? Like you'll wake up and you'll make a little loop or a melody or a journal, journal some words, and then you'll let that kind of simmer and then come back to it later, right? And kind of add to it as the day progresses.
Yeah, exactly. So it is kind of like journaling throughout the day. It's like sometimes I feel something delicate like the clothespins, or sometimes it's much louder, like clanging on bottles.
Mm-hmm. I love that, because you're just sort of bringing where you are in that moment into your creative practice and into your music. And it feels like a very organic approach. That's really
the original goal.
Speaking of, look at that. Derek and I are mind melding. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. There's a lot of love coming at you, and congratulations coming at you from various folks in the chat. What's next for you? Do you have anything that you're working toward right now?
I'm just trying to add a lot more art into my life. And one project I'm working on is taking kind of this music creation process and building out a more of a dance theater style performance. So writing the music for that, having a few different people playing the parts, and helping with some choreography, costume design, just getting to dabble in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And collaborate with more people.
Love it.
And then I think encouraged by the other people in our cohort, actually releasing some music later this year at some point.
Yes. Please do that. That is a wonderful idea. You can't see the other people who are backstage, but I can. And we just got a bunch of grins and a bunch of thumbs up from everyone. So yeah, that sounds awesome. Everyone who's watching in the audience, there are in the description somewhere around the video you are watching, there are links to these wonderful folks, social media, band camps, all of that kind of stuff. So check those out. And Jess, please keep us posted whenever both of those things come to fruition. That sounds really wonderful. Okay, I'm going to put you backstage again, unless you have any final thing you'd like to say for now.
Just thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thank you for the beautiful music. I'm going to put you backstage. We'll bring you back in a few minutes. And for now, we're going to move on to the third of 5 pieces we're going to be hearing today. Thank you again, Jess. All right. I have to pull this comment up on the screen before we continue because this is so good. This is so good, Bruce. Jess and Juan, thank you for giving me permission to try. I love that, Bruce. This is the intention behind this whole event today, is to encourage you, to inspire you, to dig more into whatever it is that you want to do. You know, there's no one path in creativity. And if this can just push you all a little bit further toward whatever it is that you're inspired by, mission accomplished. So thank you for saying that, Bruce. I love that so much. Okay. We're going to move on to the third piece. The next person we're going to be hearing from is Jason Oliveira, and we're going to be hearing excerpts from a new album that Jason just created. Sorry, way too excited over here, called Unfolding. We're going to be hearing 2 pieces. One that's a full track called Progression, and then an excerpt from a second track called No Script. So we'll listen to that, and then I will bring Jason up on the screen to chat. Here we go. All right. Let me get Jason. There you are. Hi.
Hello.
So good, Jason. So beautiful. I love the range in your music. It just blows my mind. It goes so many places. And like in a moment, it's great. It's so great. Here, let me pull up some of the comments. So atmospheric. Love the blending of found sounds and synths. Joyous mixture of textures. Paula says, I can get lost in this. Love that. So good. So congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm curious. So I know, because we've been working together for many months, that you, in addition to having a wonderful sound-based practice, you also have a very deep visual side to what you do, right? And I know that a lot of people who are watching in the audience here are also multidisciplinary artists in some way. And I know that for some people, there can be a little bit of a tension, even if it's just music. It's like, oh, I've got lots of interests within music, let alone lots of creative interests that span different disciplines. Can you talk a little bit about how you kind of fuse those worlds together and how they support one another in your work?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this project has been a good one to try to discover new ways to integrate the visual and the musical practice that I pursue. So really this album started as a way to curate my last few years of material. And one of the tools I used in the curation process was to translate some of the sound worlds that I wanted to incorporate into pictures, and then use that as the basis of a visual score. So I've been really intrigued by the idea of unconventional musical notation, where there might be marks or sequences of marks or layers of images that might suggest something new in the material. So much like Jess was talking about, being able to move back and forth between different modes of expression has been really useful to discover new layers.
I love that. So can you break that process down a little bit for people? So you had hours and hours and hours of audio recordings from all these different instruments you'd collected over the years, right? This is a common situation that we find ourselves in, right? Then what did you do? Like, how did you make sense of hours and hours and hours of stuff? You said you drew some stuff, but can you connect the dots for us a little there?
Yeah, I think having a concept was useful.
Okay.
To kind of guide the curation. So I started with an idea of emergence, which evolved into unfolding. But having an idea about what was unfolding was really the key. So after listening to the music over and over again, it was really an intuition to say this 5 or 6 set of flavors of sound got translated into little pictures of sparkles and drops and crazy grunts or smooth or sparkling pads. And those were a way to say, okay, I want to map this to some idea of really a concept of life unfolding. And, I won't say it's a one-to-one comparison, but it was enough to help me over the hump to figure out a way to structure all this stuff so it would have a deeper meaning and greater than the sum of the parts.
Yeah, I love that. So just to kind of re-articulate something you said that's really handy for people, that can be really handy if you take it and run with it, is sometimes putting a container on something or making a decision about some element and saying, okay, here's my concept. Here's the progression of events. Here's the theme. And then making your decisions within that can be really clarifying because it can almost help you decide what to keep or what to cut. You know what I mean? I do that all the time in my own work. I'll be like, okay, the concept, I'm noticing there's this idea of, rain that I keep imagining. So now I'm just going to keep things that have to do with rain. Or maybe to create contrast, I'll look for things that make me think of sunshine. And I'm just going to work in those parameters. And if there's something else that doesn't belong, I'll save it just for another project, another day. I love that. It's so good. So good. Let's see here. The people are saying loved the examples of the notation. So can you tell people a little bit, or tell us a little bit about the larger project and how people can maybe see more examples of this notation that you're talking about?
Yeah, actually, in the liner notes in the album. So if you follow the link that was on the screen, you can find some of the sketches that were the hinge to go from this big mess of recordings that I've made of my own stuff to a cohesive album. I've got kind of the process laid out there. So yeah, if you're more interested in the pictures, they're online.
We love pictures and we love sound. Well, the sound is online too. That's kind of, I was hinting you to
the
talk about
album is there. Yeah, please take a listen to the rest of the album if you like that.
And what we were seeing on the screen as your piece was playing, can you explain a little bit about what those were?
Yeah, those were an exploration of different ways of approaching layering of sound. So in the first track, I did have a pretty strong structure in mind when I started of this progressive building of beats where it was one beat in one measure, another instrument comes in, 2 beats, 3 beats, 4, all the way up to 8. So this super complex polyrhythm that comes in and goes out. That was a graphical depiction of that with kind of an overlay of these voices, kind of tying it together in a more humanistic way. And that resonates with the idea of the song of, life kind of feels overly structured and our spirits want to come through that rigidity. And then the second one was not premeditated. It was more like, let's layer up a few different recordings that have complementary sound worlds and then push and pull what's emphasized in this case, it was Ableton. So that's really like an abstracted screenshot of pushing and pulling different aspects of sounds. That was more of a discovery process.
It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that. I think there's so many little nuggets in what you just said, ways that, we could experiment with working with sound in our own compositional processes. But I just love how, I've said this to you before, Jason, but I love how thoughtful it all is. Every little nook and cranny of what you're doing is so thoughtful, every layer, every transition, and it really comes through in the music. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to put you backstage. We'll hear from you again soon. Thank you again. Congratulations. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll move on to the next piece. All right. How's everyone doing in the audience? Let me check in with all of you. You doing good? I'm going to have a sip of my tea. All right. I hope you're doing well. Just checking in, stretch a little if you need. Okay, we're going to move on to the next piece on the program, which is a live performance piece by Lauren Corba. This is an excerpt from her work, Primal Resonance. Once again, we're going to play and listen to the piece first, and then we will bring Lauren up to chat a little bit more. Okay, Lauren, so good. Oh my gosh. I think my re-entrances after I play pieces are probably the goofiest things ever, but it's pure enthusiasm coming through. Congratulations. It's so beautiful.
Thank
Hearing
you.
you work on this over the last few months and like seeing this now, it's just, it's so good. It's so good. It's been such a journey. And like, I hope you're taking a minute to celebrate all of these incredible milestones.
Yeah, it's been really awesome.
So good. I want to share a little bit of love coming out from the people in the chat. There are a lot of really great comments as you were playing about just how you were building and shifting energy. So good. I know that was something that you were paying a lot of attention to as you were developing it out, kind of how you were flowing from one piece to the next. So I also like this one. It's short and to the point. Wow. Love it. Love it. Love it. So let's see. Where can we begin? I know that a big focus for you in this program was in creating a structure for your music making, right? Or your process that you could use to build new pieces kind of again and again. So maybe we can start there. Could you talk a little bit about how you made this piece and maybe if and how your approach to making music has shifted at all?
Yeah, I feel like before this, I was very much into like exploration. So I've been learning this for a long time, and I sit down and it's really good on the heart. You just kind of throw things together, patch things in. What happens? It's fun and it's exciting. And then next thing you know, your entire case is patched up, and you have no idea what happened. You just wake up like, oh, this is fun, but what happened?
Yeah.
And then I think there was a lot to slowing down in this and taking the time to really listen and build each layer, which is what I did. I really worked on each layer, and then knowing my own process is very visual, and just, you know, creating index cards that we talked about, just drawing out sounds I wanted to hear, or just writing out things I wanted to hear, and then building sounds based on the visuals I created, and then also building a storyline around it. And so when I was improving, because improv is wild, I had a storyline that I was going with to kind of keep me in the space, to keep me present. So that was so now the structure is I can use it over and over and over.
Right. It's so good. So if y'all in the audience haven't noticed yet, there's a lot of common themes, right? A lot of people are kind of reaching for other other forms of creativity, like writing, drawing, all of this, to help kind of support their compositional process. This is something that I definitely do in my own work, and it's something that I teach. But I just want to encourage you all, embrace all the sides of yourself. Like, I remember, Lauren, when we started talking about this process, you lit up when you thought about the idea of storyboarding, because you're like, oh my God, storyboarding. I love that.
I love
it. Right? Like that was the case. And I think that's so cool to think about, right? Like, if there's a part of you, even if it's not related to your music, something that you're really good at, something that just really works for you, use it, right? Even if it might not seem like an obvious connection at first. If you're like, well, I'm trying to write music, what does writing text have to do with that? It could have a lot to do with it if you use it as part of your process. Let yourself brainstorm through it and stuff like that. So good. Okay. I want to know a little bit more, or I want you to tell everyone, if you want to. Wow. Let me try again. I know that there's a lot more behind your music than the music itself. You've got a lot of very specific and clear intentions behind why you're creating this music and kind of what you want to do with it. Can you talk a little bit about that and share that with people?
Sure. I find that modular is very just healing, as far as like emotionally and mentally. It's grounding, and it's helped me a lot, just get through some stuff. And then I thought, well, why don't I bring this to the people in this way? And if it can help, then that would be great. So I just feel like I'm really interested in the healing arts, or in therapies, and different kind of therapies that I can bring this to. Yeah. And I have been offered a opportunity to play for IV therapy in a medicinal functional facility. Functional medicine facility. Yeah. So it'll give me an opportunity to just try things and get feedback and see how people feel about it, because it's all feedback based. Like, how does it feel?
Yeah. It's so good.
And at the end of this performance, everybody was kind of blown by it. And it's really live. It feels differently than, listening to it on the screen, because it's electricity, and it's in everything. So
being there with the vibrations in the room.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I
got a lot of good feedback. Yeah.
Amazing. It's congratulations, by the way, on all of that. It's so exciting. And it's wonderful to hear, music for the sake of music is wonderful as well. Don't get me wrong. I love that. But it's also just really beautiful that you're infusing your work with this intention to support others, to help people heal, to help people through challenging times. And it comes through. It really does. Like, I've been working very closely with you for many months, and I know how every decision you're making is being kind of anchored in and guided by that way of thinking. And it's just a really powerful and special thing. So keep going. There's some questions, actually. Hang on. I thought I saw a question come from the audience. Let me see here. Yes. Christopher, I'm going to pull this up on the screen if you're open to a question, Lauren. How did your initial storyline inform your sound design? And did the sounds then go on to inform the evolution of the concept itself? How did your initial storyline?
It did. Yeah. I know what he was talking about. Yeah. It did. The concept was ritual, and the flute and the fire crackling is a sample I took from this this cabin that our family has that we go to just kind of retreat and to regroup, and we, there's this morning ritual. We light the fire, we play this native flute, we make our coffee, we just sit and hang out, and there's no internet, there's no TV. It's just really relaxing. So just pulling that sound into the system just brings that into it, and then the concept kind of grew around it, and it got kind of the storyline became pretty wild about like the universe retreating into itself, and like then letting all these creatures in and rejuvenating and coming back to life. I don't know, it just was wild. But it was fun. It's fun. It's like your imagination can go anywhere. You could take it anywhere, and that's what's really exciting about it.
Yeah.
And healing about it.
Totally.
Enjoying it.
I love that. Thank you. Thanks for answering. Thank you, Christopher, for the question. I also want to tell the audience, we're going to do a group Q&A at the end. We have one more piece to hear, and then I'm going to bring everyone out. So don't disappear. Don't change that channel. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm such a nerd. But stay, because it'll be cool. And we'll have an opportunity to chat with all the artists at once. So if you have questions for the group or for individuals, you can definitely ask them then. Okay, so is there anything else you want to say, Lauren, for now before we move on to the last piece?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So good. Keep going. We'll see you back here in a couple minutes. I'm going to put you backstage here. And for now, we are going to move on to the final piece of our program. Last, but absolutely in no way at all least. Not in any way least. Last, but not least. You know what I'm trying to say. It's going to be awesome. This is a piece titled March 25, and it's by Cassandra Meyer. And we're going to hear the piece, and then I will bring Cassandra out, and we will talk a little bit about her process and the work. So here we go. feel like everyone just took a big collective sigh, just like a big like, Cassandra, it's so good. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. I wish I could have gotten lost in that. I could have listened to that for the next hour and been very blissed out and peaceful. Yeah. See, Derek, thank you. It's exactly what I meant. So good. Oh, yeah, your music is just so beautiful. And this piece in particular, I love how it just, again, I've used the word invitation before, but it really fits. It feels like you're just inviting us into this world, and there's all the layers fit together so well. There was room for everything. Wasn't too much, just the right amount of stuff. So good, so good. Let me share some comments here. Lovely, rich textures. Passageway. Yes. The photo. Oh, this is really nice. Love the photo as an invitation to the steps and pathway. Actually, this is a good place to start. Yeah, speaking of someone with many creative interests and talents, the photo was yours as well, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Do these worlds intersect in your practice? Does one support the other? Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Definitely. So I do photography on the side. I use like a contact too. I don't know if many photography people out there. So it's just like an outlet. And I was in my hometown last Christmas, and I just went downtown. It's a little bit what do you call it? Abandoned, like some of the houses, and I just took photography through there. Anyway, it's just another way to express myself, I guess. And then sometimes when I am stuck on music, sometimes I look back on the photography I took and just try to find inspiration, or like things that can inspire me to create a sound or a mood I want to capture. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
I love that. That is actually such a fantastic idea for people. If you get stuck on something, try switching to something else. It sounds so obvious when I say it that way, but switch to a different thing that inspires you, right? Look at some photos, take a walk, and admire the complexity and simplicity of nature, whatever it is that just moves you and fills you back up. So good. Your photography is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
It's really, really beautiful. And it pairs really well with your music. Speaking of music, can you tell us a little bit about how this piece we just heard was created?
Yeah, so I've, like Lauren, I'm into the Eurorack modules. So that's been one of my goals, getting familiar with it. So yeah, I just have like 3 sound sources, lots of modulation in it. And yeah, just been on that journey the past few months and trying to get familiar with it and comfortable and just recording anything. Anytime I sit down and practice, just having that set up like fluid with no kinks. So that's been a goal, and I've gotten over that goal.
More than a goal. Yeah, I'd say that's been a success. Check. Yeah. So this is really, I'd love to dive a little deeper into this, because I know that a lot of people here in this audience are interested in modular synths, and some are more advanced than others. There's always, it's an endless thing that we're always improving and growing into. But you did a couple things throughout the last few months working together that I thought were really, really smart when it comes to just getting deep with the system that you have and really learning it. And I don't know if you know exactly what I'm hinting at, but do you have anything you'd like to share about like how you focused on improving your modular skills over the last few months?
So yeah, I try to like dive into like keeping the same set of modules as much as I can, just like learning them, reading the manuals, and just limiting myself rather than just getting another module, because that's like endless and dangerous. But yeah, just like narrowing it down, being simple, like also embracing the chaos or like mistakes, happy accidents, I like to call them. But yeah, just
so good. Okay, I want to repeat for people. You nailed every single one that I was thinking of. So thank you for being psychic. Yeah. Committing to a setup, it's so tempting to like switch it all around every day. Like, ooh, let's do this arrangement. Ooh, let's get all these extra modules. I know you were doing that a little bit before when we,
At the beginning.
yeah. But you said, you're like, I'm just going to commit one setup. Let's see how deep I can go. That's so smart. And then keeping it simple. I mean, what you created here is so deep and complex and beautiful. And I think there's been a theme today that simplicity is powerful, right? Simplicity is just, there's so much within it. And I think it's so good. Embracing the chaos. Love that too. It's a good one to always be reminded of.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about what's next for you? I think you're working on some pretty cool projects.
So I'm slowly but surely trying to put together an EP. Hopefully by end of summer. I'm still, probably before then. We'll see. And then maybe just start doing more performances, kind of like what Lauren's doing. She's kind of like a step ahead of me. So she's been in that exploratory phase that I'm in, but kind of go into that journey. Yeah, great, and just start getting more in front of people. And it's another beast. Like doing live modulars. Like I a lot of kudos to Lauren. I have a lot of respect for her for doing that. So yeah, I think that would be the next challenge.
I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, everyone, just a reminder that below or above, somewhere in the orbit of this video, there are links in the description to all of these wonderful people's social media channels of choice, Bandcamp and Instagram and things like that. So go and follow them and subscribe and all of those things so that when these albums and EPs and performances come out, we can all be there first in line to enjoy it. Please keep us posted, Cassandra. I think you're closer to your EP than you realize, but we'll talk about that another day. Because everything I'm hearing is just so beautiful. Is there anything else that you want to say here before we transition?
No, I think that was, be simple. You don't have to overthink things, and just be willing to, suck or not, be good and embrace the chaos.
Be willing to suck. Yeah, I love that. That's actually really good advice. Really, really good advice.
And share your stuff. Don't be afraid. That was one of my things I was trying to get over as a block. Yeah. So it's really helped me. Yeah,
that's true. Oh, and while I have you here, what did you do to help you get past that? Like, because I remember early on, for you, it was like, it was, you were struggling a lot with like believing in yourself, negative self-talk, and also just being comfortable and courageous to share. And now you're sharing all the time. I mean, look what you just did. You just shared this music in front of a huge group of people. So what helped you?
Yeah, definitely your support, the group support, and just trying to share as much as I can, even if I thought I didn't want to share it, just pushing myself to do it either in the forum or in our weekly one-on-one or group chats. Video.
Yeah. Again, just like with Juan, you just made a decision to do it. It was scary. You didn't want to. Exactly. It wasn't perfect, but you just did it anyway. And that's so important. Yeah. It's so, so important. All right, so with this, what I'm going to do now is transition over. I'm going to bring everyone out on screen, and let's have a big collective round of emoji applause for everyone. Phew, here we are, everyone. Wait, did I miss someone? Oh my gosh. No, I don't think I did. Huge applause. Congratulations to all of you. Your music is beautiful. It's so good. I just really want to acknowledge you all here for a couple of things. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move into a group chat. Okay. Oh my gosh, the cat has arrived. What's the cat's name again? Noodles? No, not Noodles.
Puddin'.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So we're going to move into a group chat. So I'm going to ask some questions of everyone. Anyone who has questions in the audience, now is your time to get them brewing and dropped into the chat. But first, I really want to just take a second here to acknowledge these amazing people on screen for showing up in the way that they have over the last few months. We've been working together for 3 months in this mentorship program, and it is a very intensive program. We are meeting for hours and hours every single week. We are doing feedback sessions in between every single week. there is a lot of vulnerability at work and a lot of courage and a lot of hard work. And all of these people really just embraced it in the fullest way possible. And so today is a big milestone for all of them. It's a really inspiring to see kind of the culmination of this work. And they are just getting started. So I really want to encourage you all to, like, all of you on here with me live, keep going, keep creating, keep taking risks, keep daring to suck, all of the stuff. Just keep being you and doing it. And then everyone in the audience, do the same in your own way. Just keep going, because honestly, it makes the world a more beautiful place. So with that said, let's move into some questions. So I'm going to volley these over to individual people. And then any questions from people in the chat here, let us know. So I'd like to ask the first person, I'll ask Jess. Okay, these are not coming in any particular order here, but I want to ask you, reflecting back over the last few months, what's one thing that you've learned about yourself creatively?
That I'm making art for me. And I think in the past, whether it was art or work or other things, I've always felt like too much of it I was doing maybe for someone else, trying to get a praise or some sort of reaction. And I think over the last few months, it's been strictly for me. And what I learned was, when I first started in the program, a lot of my sketches or songs were heavily covered in effects, especially my voice. A lot of delay, and pitching it in different directions. I was listening to some this morning, and you could barely tell, but it was vocals. And I think that I've gotten, I have a lot more love for my voice now, I guess that's the thing. So, and I really enjoy listening to my own music. And,
that's awesome.
I think it just took some encouragement to get there. Yeah.
Well, all the credits goes to you, though, for doing it. That's so awesome. I remember in one of our very first conversations, you asked a question that I loved. I just think this is so good. You asked it to the whole group, just like, what is a creative voice? You know how there's all this conversation about like finding my voice and developing my voice. And you were kind of like, what even is that? And, which is just such a good question. And I think it's just beautiful as you've moved through these last few months, that you are really like literally embracing and loving your voice more. I think there's perhaps a connection there. So good. Thank you. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to ask Jason a question. I'm curious, what's one or two challenges that you faced during the creative process working on this album, and how did you work through them?
I think one of the things that will stick most is perfection isn't real. And I think getting over perfectionist tendencies, which you realize, when you really look at it, are just fear in different flavors. So I think just putting the music out there is huge, just doing it. But also recognizing, I think something Jess said, that if you're doing it for yourself, in a way, for me, it's about tuning into like, what gives me those tingle feelings, like this is good.
Yeah.
Chances are it's going to resonate with other people too. And I think that's the beauty of sharing, is you discover that what works for you is going to help you connect more deeply, and seeing the music as like an offering and a gift.
So good. That's so good. Thank you. You just said so many things that I just absolutely love. Yeah. The more I say this all the time because I could not believe it more strongly, but the more that you all do you and do what lights you up and follow the tingly feelings for you, the sounds you love, whatever it is, the stuff that you're curious about, the better it'll be. And you're right, Jason, it'll resonate with the right people. Our art, our music, it's not going to be for everyone. but it will resonate with the right people. And that's really what matters. I love that so much. So this reminds me of a conversation we had early on in the group about perfectionism. And I want to go over to Juan, because you had an amazing perspective about perfectionism and perfectness that we ended up tapping into many times throughout the program together. Every time this conversation came up, I'd be like, Juan, take it away. What do you think about perfectionism? So I'm just curious to hear, can you share some of your thoughts about this and maybe how you've worked with it in your own, through it in your own practice?
Yeah, it seems like perfectionism really interferes with creativity, and perfection doesn't really exist except by definition. You know, we decide something means perfect and then try and do that, but I don't think that works very well. It's much better to be authentic and do your best at being authentic. So
Right.
Perfectionism, I think, I mean, I'll probably never let go of it entirely, but it seems pretty far out the window now.
Yeah, I love that. I remember with you also, we had, and with everyone, but I've got Juan in the spotlight right now. We spent a lot of time also talking about, what it means to be a musician. And I know that a lot of people in this group, a lot of people in this community, myself included, to be clear, have periods of time and feelings where you're like, oh God, am I a real musician? Am I a real composer? Am I good enough? Am I, all of these things. Can you speak a little bit, Juan, about how your experience has been over the last few months, how that has shifted for you?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. It really has shifted a lot. I used to I didn't believe that I was a real musician. And it's taken me a long time to come to understand that actually I am, and I make, different kinds of music. I think I subordinated my musician identity to my day gig too much, like way too much. And I still need the day gig, but I don't feel like music is a really important part of myself, and it's really nice to own that and express it and help it grow. It's so that's been a revelation, but quite a wonderful one.
Yeah, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There was always a little bit of a joke because the rest of us, of course, hearing anything Juan creates, are all abundantly aware that he is a phenomenal musician. And so when I think I first heard you say, like, I think I'm a musician, we're all like, yeah, welcome. We're glad. I'm glad you caught up to the rest of us.
Yeah, I've been a slow learner in that way.
But it's such, you're not alone. You're not alone in this. And I hope that there's at least one other person out listening on the live stream right now who might also be that person thinking like, I don't think I'm a musician. I don't think I'm legit enough, or whatever it is. Hear this conversation and just experiment with applying it to yourself, because I talk to so many of you in this community. I hear your work. So many of you are my students in my synthesis class, and what you're doing is amazing. Okay. So just, try it on for size, see if it fits, see how it feels. And just remember that there's no moment where all of a sudden you become a musician. It is just a willingness to try, to create, to experiment with sound. That's all it really takes. So thank you, Juan, for sharing that. I love it. Okay, let me go here over to Lauren. I'm curious if you have one or more piece of advice, encouragement, something like that you would like to offer to someone. Or it could be to your past, if it's easier to think it through. By the way, none of these folks were prompted on these questions. So
that's a big question.
That's a big one. So it could also be, Lauren 3 months ago, Lauren 6 months ago, something like that.
Well, we've talked a lot about imperfect action, and that was a huge help. And then also the musician, are we musicians or not? Well, if you're playing music and you're loving it, you're a musician.
Yes.
Just deal with it. And then, I think then it's just like like exploring and being open to exploration and open to what it's for you, what it does for you. And you know, it's, and like Jason said, and it's for yourself. You do it, you have to listen to what you love, and because that is the like answer to connecting with others. Like if you go up there and you don't like what you're doing, people are gonna be like, get me out of here. You know, they'll feel that. So you have to love what you're doing and what you're playing, and really embody that and express it in order to connect with other people, for them to have a chance to like it. So I think it is about connection, but it is also about, like, you know, feeding that joy, that it's like a deep joy. It's unexplainable. Yeah. You have to do it. You better do it. If you have to do it, you better do it.
If you have to do it, you better do it. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it. It's so good. Yeah, coming back to joy, you know, it's such a valuable thing. Like, how can I make this fun? That's one of my favorite questions to ask. How can I make this fun? If something's feeling too grindy and too much friction, it means that something, it might mean that I need to, like, you know, practice my scales a little and get some new skills dialed in. It might also mean that I just need to make it a little more fun, you know, like put a cool, like, I love, you know, whenever I'm not going to tell you how I like to practice scales. If anyone wants to know, send me a DM. That was going to be too long of a tangent. Okay, we're going to go on to another question, because this is not about me. This is about all of you. Over to Cassandra. I want to ask you about the experience of working with people who are focusing on so many different things. What was it like for you to work with artists from all different backgrounds, all different approaches to making music, different genres? Did it challenge you? Did it inspire you? Did it inform your experiments in any way? Just curious to hear your thoughts on that.
You mean within the group? Like, everybody's...
Yeah.
No, it's like interesting to see their process and their struggles and how you can relate to what they're going through and how you can apply it to yourself. So it goes hand in hand. Like if it's not the same genre or whatever instrument or medium that they're doing, but still what they're going through is similar to what you are. So it's a way to connect to them. And I would encourage, like, connecting to the community here. Even after a program, like it's great. The forums as well.
Yeah. The process of making music is so, like, that in itself is such a universal thing. If you're making, you know, meditation music versus dance music, there are so many commonalities, especially when it comes down to the internal stuff. Creative blocks, the insecurities, all of that kind of stuff. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much. We've got some questions from the audience. So let me go ahead and pull these up. Here's one for the group. This is for anyone who has an opinion. I love this, Simon. How do you know when a piece is finished? How do you know? Anyone have any thoughts? Jason, go ahead.
That's a good one. I mean, I like the idea that it's finished when it says what you want it to say. And it's kind of an interesting lens, because that forces you to ask, like, what do I want this piece to say?
Right.
So I use that as kind of my metric for the album.
That's so good. That's really good. This is similar to, you know, how do you know you've reached a goal that you haven't defined? Right? How do you know you've reached a destination where you didn't decide where you were going? If you can get clear about, like, what is the piece, you know, what do I want the piece to say? How do I want it to feel? If you can get clear about that, then you know when you've gotten there. I love that. I love that so much. I'll offer a different kind of angle, which is a little more technical. Whenever I find myself making microscopic changes, turning something up by half a decibel, panning something to the left by, like, the tiniest little amount, and then undoing it, and then all of that, I'm like, okay, ready to ship. Donezo. Yeah. I also love this perspective from David, which is a piece ever finished? Or do you just decide that it's good enough for now? That's it. That's a totally valid perspective. And I actually think that way about a lot of my own musical output. Like, you know what? This is where I'm at right now. Here it is. I love that. Anyone else have any other answers to this question? from the group up here? It's finished when you've hit your deadline. I'm surprised no one said that.
Oh,
It's
so subjective.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's so subjective. It's finished when it feels finished.
Yeah.
Which can be, oh, this is good enough, or, oh, I'm not really adding anything of value with the time I'm spending. I mean, it comes about in different ways, but there's just a feeling of doneness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did help making a date for the live performance before I even was done with the piece. Then it just had to be done for that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Deadlines and some form of accountability can be huge. It doesn't have to be, of course, being in a course or a program like this can be a huge help, but it could be like tell a friend or two, ask them to hold you accountable, or, announce it publicly in some way, whatever it is. But I love that. Even if you're just internally deciding on that deadline. It's so good. Okay, let's move to some different questions here. I have a couple technical questions for Jess. I hope you're up for it. Here's one for Jess. What effect are you using for your voice?
I'm using auto shift in the Ableton 12 beta. It's a new, basically like auto tuning effect that's native to Ableton. Awesome. It sounds great. I thought people might just think that was my real voice.
We've got some discerning listeners here in this group. Let me go to one other technical question for Jess here. I'm curious what exactly you were controlling with your right hand on the Novation.
Yeah, it was hooked up to the levels on Ableton. So I had different clips or tracks with different clips in them. I was using it a lot more the night before, and I was triggering a bunch of different clips and playing with the levels as I was singing. But for the one that I recorded and shared, it was a lot simpler. So just messing with the volume levels and switching between two different clips.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Okay, I actually don't know if there are any other questions. Now is last call for questions. I love this little comment here. Adrian it's done when I'm out of flash cables. That's true. That we've all been there. That's a good point as well. Okay, so I think with that, we have reached the end of the Creative Electroacoustic Immersion Program Showcase. So let's all give another huge round of emoji applause or real applause. Congratulations to this group of artists who shared their work here today. It's a vulnerable thing to do. It takes a lot of courage. Thank you for doing it, and keep doing it. Please keep doing it. And for those of you who are listening, if you are a musician or an artist who is craving support and mentorship right now to unlock your unique musical voice, to clarify your creative process and your workflow so that you can make and finish music that you really love and that you feel proud of sharing with the world, then I would love to invite you to apply for the next round of my mentorship program, which will start in July. But early applications are now open. So if you want to chat with me about it, if you have any questions about the program to see if it's the right fit for you, please go ahead and send me an email or a DM anytime on any social platform, and I will be happy to chat more, and I'd love to set up a call to talk with you. Thank you again. Huge congrats, Cassandra, Jess, Jason, Lauren, Juan. It's been such an incredible joy to support you all over the last few months, and I cannot wait. I truly cannot wait to see what the future holds. Here is a little bit of love for everyone, from everyone to all of you. Thank you for your courage and creative expressions. Thanks for the showcase, inspiring as ever. So good. Thank you. So good, so good, so good. Clap, 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 clap. That was a lot of work writing all that out. All right. Okay, take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye for now.